to any artist, if you break even from doing a gallery exhibition, you're in the top 10%, 5%, because most don't. A lot of people forget today there's artists growing up now that have never touched a paintbrush, never sculpted. They've grown up with mum or dad's iPad or computer, and they started creating things. Group exhibitions have always been our best. They're most excited, the most fun, and it's a big network effect. Every artist is basically helping each other talk about their exhibition. These Gen Zs, millennials, and the likes are not necessarily collectors, they're supporters. They more so enjoy investing in artists. They like who they are, what they kind of stand for. They're happy to support them, and that's, buying a hoodie or a T-shirt or a print. Those collectors are the new ones that are going to be the ones that buy your $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 canvases in the future.
Before we get into this episode, I just want to thank you for being here. I started this podcast to spark conversations that inspire, creatively, personally, and everything in between. So if you'd like to support that mission, the best way is to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching or listening to this. That'll help other creative minds discover us and also ensures that you won't miss any of the incredible guests that we've got coming up. Because when this passion is shared, it grows exponentially. So thank you, and now let's get stuck into it. It was at the start of the year, I decided I'm going to input as much as I can into AI. Because I found that if I was looking at one thing in particular, it'll give me the best information it can based on that. So for example, I'll say, I have got this podcast, weekly episode drops. This is helped me develop the content schedule and blah, 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 blah. And it'll do all these. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have the capacity to do that. But it doesn't know my capacity. It was just coming up with the best case scenario. So I do regular check-ins with AI. Like when I'm in the car, I'll just chat and just say, okay, here's an update of what's been going on. So for example, I've got my marathon training program that will start in about 5 weeks.
Yep.
I've got 2 boys at home. I've got, paid work, design work, ad hoc freelance stuff that comes up whenever it comes up. And I'm trying to start painting, and I've got recordings, got all of these. And I can't say to ChatGPT, give us an optimized 20-week training program leading up to my marathon and expect it to churn out this program with consideration of everything. So now I do regular check-ins with it. So it knows me.
Knows your process. Knows that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and knows everything. So it can, every time it considers one thing, when I ask it a question, it knows it's not to answer that in a silo, that it needs to account for all this other shit that's going on.
Which is one of the great updates that has just recently happened, I think, in the 4.0 version, which is the memory.
Oh, it's awesome.
So,
awesome.
It's got memory.
Yeah.
So now it knows, you can jump in and something won't be directly contextual to anything else, except it goes, oh, yeah, you told me about this.
Exactly.
So I know you're talking about this, yeah.
Yeah. So I want it to, it's dangerous, but I'm trying to input as much as I can into it, so that way I can get the most refined answers. But I feel as though that I'm almost relying on it too much now. I turn to it for fucking so much, man.
Yeah, look, I am for the past 3 months, as you know, been relying on it almost every day.
Yeah,
8 to 12 hours a day minimum, working on it, and then printing at the company and trying to run the business and rebrand. But that reliance is just like anything else, I think, in technology. We at the start we're all sitting there going like, oh, I'm reliant on it.
Yeah.
A mobile phone. We become reliant on these. Now it's second nature. We're aware of it. It's of like, hey, I'm glued to this screen. But it really depends on your skill as a person and your focus, if you are able to utilize it properly, and not waste your time on it. Doom scrolling and, the
I don't
rest.
think it matters that we're aware of how much we're addicted to our phones. I think that we're past the point of that awareness is irrelevant. I think that we're just so attached to it. It's so integrated into how we live that you can be aware of it or you can be oblivious to it. Like you're still going to have to use it. And with AI, now that they're going to be implementing all the AI features into the phones, I'm not feeling great about it.
Oh, I've been using AI on my Samsung, for the past couple of years. Past year, I should say, on the Samsung S24.
Yeah, because that's pretty well fully integrated, isn't it?
Yeah. And look, this whole extension of what we're seeing right now, it's like, don't worry about your phone, because it's moving to, next we'll move to the glasses, which are already developing right now. And then, soon enough after it, you're going to see bio implants, and you will.
The biohacking that seems to have kind of calmed down a little bit.
It's happening. They're developing it, and this is what they've already got us attuned to, having that mobile phone.
Yeah.
Before, when you left the house, it was like keys and wallet, keys, wallet, and now it's keys, wallet, phone. Well, you don't even need your wallet anymore.
I don't carry a wallet,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. It's kind of like, have I got my keys and have I got my phone? Keys are slowly phasing out. You can get into cars now without your keys. Take a Tesla or the likes. You can tap, and you don't have to worry about keys. So it's this extension for everything.
Yep.
And that's that reliance that we're building on it, which is great. It's amazing, the technology, as long as you, again, you're aware in a certain way, like, hey, I do need to put it down and have a, touch grass, have a bit of life. But these are all stages to going into, there's AR, VR, everything else. VR is a long, long way away. The human brain's not conditioned to be inside a virtual reality of sorts for extended periods of time.
I don't know, man, because I worked in VR as well. I was working on a VR project, and I think it's just the limitations is the technology that we have, the hardware, not so much the software. The software can do it. It's the hardware that breaks that immersion. But I think that we absolutely are capable of doing it.
I'm on the other side of that. We're capable of doing it for sure, but the evolution of the human brain, we're not ready to fully immerse ourselves.
What makes you say that?
Do you think you could sit in a VR headset for 4 hours to 8 hours a day, like someone like an artist, Giant Swan, who does it for his art practice?
Yeah,
but could you have that on your face all day?
Well, I mean, I personally couldn't, only because of just the current implementations of how we do VR. It doesn't give us that degree of peripheral vision. It still has a lot of weight to it. So I think there are some hardware limitations. But when we say a virtual reality, it'll get to a point where we are going to be able to be plugged in, much like how it was in surrogates, right? Or where we don't have to wear any cumbersome goggles or any hardware. It'll just be something that we are immersed in, and it will be indistinguishable, right? Like I don't think there's, looking at the way things are going, I don't think there's any reason to think that we couldn't do it. But in its current form, I couldn't sit there for too long, because again, I'll be fully aware that I am in a fake reality,
an alternate reality. A designed reality.
But a lot of the research that I was looking at when I was working on that is that our brains are pretty stupid when it comes to recognizing or distinguishing between real and not real. Where, like, when you're in a virtual reality and when things are being embedded in memory, when you're trying to recall it, you don't know whether or not it is something that you have experienced in real life
Yeah,
or in a virtual reality, much like a dream.
Well, you take a look at the best VR fails of people jumping through the
TVs and that.
and shit like that. It does embed in your internal psyche and your emotion and everything. Like you feel it, you experience it. But yeah, our perception of kind of reality as we know it and as we've grown to know it and as we've designed it around ourselves is we're not going to leave that anytime soon. It's enjoyable to kind of play in there. AR is a different story.
Yeah.
AR is like, yeah, wow. Like, okay, if I've got the glasses or a bio implant later, and I've got overlays, or I believe we'll be at a point where you're, due to kind of finite resources on this planet, this couch, will because you've got certain credits or certain collectibles you own. This might be a Louis Vuitton covered couch, but it's actually just a blank canvas couch. But the way we visualize it and the way you can control how people visualize your space, but that will be through augmented reality. So, if you walk in, you might have some, these two paintings. Are they yours, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. You might have these two paintings here, but you also might own a digital copy of another painting that might be, a little bit kind of over the top for a certain dinner party or something. When you're like, all right, well, people are visiting my home. I want to change out the artwork to this. They're going to see it like as if it's a physical thing because they've got this fucking amazing AR overlay, but they're going to see, two different paintings there, or your couch might be a bit different, or the things that you've got will be.
Yeah, it could go beyond, because when you say like an augmented reality, all the things that we have so far when we're talking about adjusting or augmenting the reality or creating a virtual reality, there's been a lot of emphasis on the visual component of it. There have been a lot of, I don't know if you've seen some of the tech where they have, for example, they're using fans to create tactility.
Yep.
Where it's almost like they can create these shapes. Have you seen that?
Yeah. We've got some at the gallery.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'll check. Oh, fucking hell. I'll check it out next time.
We've actually got a holographic machine at the gallery too.
Oh man!
So a pyramid holographic.
Oh, right. The projects on yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we've got one of those.
Yeah, no, because if you think with augmenting reality, there's so many other things that we need to be able to consider as well. I think tactility is a big one. I don't know how close. We're so far away from being able to do anything with that. Scent will be pretty tricky to do as well, to be able to manipulate it on the fly.
Yep.
Auditory, easy. That one can be done just as easy as visual. And taste, like that's near damn impossible. Yeah.
Well, definitely and this is, we've spent 3 years running a digital art gallery, a digital first, and a lot of people in the crypto art space and NFT space were always like, hey, like the website's the gallery as well. You can go and experience it that way in, its 2D form on a website. And, us as myself and Jane as kind of artists, gallerists, curators, and, business owners type thing, we know the difference between an experience for someone.
Yeah.
And you still need that experience. It's just something that's inherent in, it's an intrinsic need for people to experience being somewhere different, and knowing you're somewhere different. I get you. Put a VR headset on, fucking amazing experience. Like, wow, that was like insane when it's full virtual reality. But then take the AR overlay case where if you're walking around and you've got little pop up, you might like this in here, or that's what you're looking for, or ding, over here. There's one of your friends is kind of just down here. Go down and see him or whatever. But you're closer to the experience. Like you're out. You need to be out there, and that's one of the things that has driven. Well, take for instance artists working from artist studios. If, I was an artist working at home from my back studio, loved it. Get up at 10 a.m. and have the Ugg boots on and trackies all day, and go out the back and create, make stuff, sculpt, do all the things. And but you become like, what is it? Not homesick. The opposite to that, cabin fever. Yeah. So you get this cabin fever of like, I need people, I need surroundings, I need a different kind of location. I need to be somewhere different to experience something.
That's the thing with art, right? Like in order to be an artist, you have to experience life in order to be able to create art, and that's that balance that you have to try to identify. And sometimes you get too comfortable being complacent.
100%.
Yeah, and then your work.
No artist should be complacent.
No,
no, they're if you're being complacent as an artist, you're not going anywhere.
No, everything suffers. Your work will suffer. But Oshi, gone, retired. Why did you feel as though that you had to make such a big drastic shift away from Oshi?
There's a few things. So it actually started a little bit further back with when we were MilkBar. So MilkBar was prior to Oshi. At that point there, we sold that. We got hit with COVID. Literally, when we moved into MilkBar, January 2020, we gutted the whole place, rebuilt it all. We wanted to build a digital and physical art gallery. As well as the printing business and everything there. So COVID kicked in, Melbourne, world's longest lockdown. So hooray. Not very conducive to an art gallery. We got through it. It wasn't the easiest of times for us or, everyone around us. But we got towards the end of COVID lockdowns, we had an offer from a Queensland company to buy MilkBar. They loved what we did. We'd built up quite a good reputation in quality and what we had done, especially on the printing side. So they purchased the whole business. That was the gallery, the printing, everything. But we had a 3-year no-compete within 50 kilometres. So that's a contract that you sign basically to say, don't go and set up down the road and, just take all our customers, because basically the company was Jane and I.
Yeah, you got to see
and it still is. So, there was always that connection. So we had to do something unique. And we were already in deep in the crypto art space, and we have been since 2017. And we're like, well, shit, let's set up a digital art gallery. Like, let's test it and give it a shot. So that gallery was supported by crypto artists. They helped fund it and, get it built. Like, obviously, Jane and I put our blood, sweat and tears into it and got through the time in there, but they helped us to build it. We wanted to test that. We wanted to test, we had shown digital art previously in previous galleries. We wanted to test it as a full experience, so change it around. So hence, the big projection screens, video walls, large digital screens on the walls, and absolutely amazing. Like, loved every minute of it. Digital artists too, especially. A lot of them never had an opportunity to work in a gallery or be presented in a gallery. So that for us made us feel good. When you've got quite a high up crypto artist or NFT artist or digital artist in any form. And we felt good about it. Like, that was like, they're so happy, kind of in a selfish way. It's like, they're like, oh my God, my artwork's in a gallery. I've got a solo exhibition here. So it just felt good. And we've always been about supporting that kind of emerging mid-career artist, and helping them develop and, get a leg up where they can.
Yeah, that's also with, if you think about, you guys set that up, let's call it, 2020-ish, but digital art in itself was on the come up for like already almost 20 years,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
When digital art in itself had a stronghold and a lot of artists were moving towards just creating strictly digitally or not even moving towards it, it created a whole new space. But there was no real way of them showcasing their work in any kind of traditional way. And I think that was supported with the rise of Instagram, where there's a
100%,
digital platform for digital artists, but it was still very clear boundary between a digital artist and a traditional artist, and how you could start to almost blur that line. And that's what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, well, it's what we call DXP, so digital X physical or digital cross physical. But yes, digital artists have not had the easiest run over the past 15, 20 years. It was one of the key reasons we set up a printing business, and that was over 10 years ago now, because we've seen a lot of digital artists who were like, your work's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And we treated it as art. It's art.
And they were essentially it was a trade, right? Like that they were creating the art for a folio to then garner clients to create commercial work. So that
that was the main focus.
Yeah.
If you were a digital artist, whether you were a 3D renderer or a glitch artist or whatever, you had a certain style. Your hope was some commercial client would come across your Instagram and go, shit, that's what we need. And that was it. Aside from they would do some prints, they might go to some expo or kind of art fair or whatever and try and sell some prints. But still, the general populace never really took digital art seriously as a fine art form. Fine art's kind of attributed to paint on canvas and sculpture and physical kind of items. So it's kind of like, well, these people are practicing like 10,000 hours, 10,000 days, whatever. They're doing their practice and honing their skills. And just, I always looked at it and like, that's fucking amazing. I don't care if it's on my computer screen, on my mobile phone or whatever, or up on a billboard. It was like the appreciation of art and someone's ability to create that digitally. They're using those tools. That's the only difference. It's a different medium that it shows up on. So we wanted to help digital artists, and that's why we set up the printing business. Then, obviously, later, we've been in the crypto art NFT space since 2017. But indeed, we're behind the scenes with the artists, some of the biggest artists in the space. And we know them personally, and we understand their practice and their processes and, everything that goes through them creating what they do. It's no different to you painting canvases, and getting all that done. It's your process. It's the part that makes you happy, and that's the same for them. And a lot of people forget today is there's artists growing up now that have never touched a paintbrush, never sculpted. They've grown up with mum or dad's iPad or computer, and they started creating things. And that generation, this generation Alpha, especially the first, fully online kind of generation, they're creating art the way they've grown up, the way they're utilizing it. It doesn't even matter if it's a meme or whatever. They're starting to create art, and to them, it's art.
Yeah, but there's also that shift to things being really skeuomorphic, where like on the iPad, how they're creating tools that look traditional. right? So if you have, and then they have like trying to make it as real to life as possible, where it's just like at that point, just fucking pick up a brush.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it's like a new medium, but this new medium is slowly trying to move back to traditional medium.
Yep.
Where it's fine, it's good, like, but it's still there's still that divide there. And I'm just wondering, like, why wouldn't it just go all in and just be like, nah, we're not moving.
This is
Yeah, if you want to do brush, but I don't know why you would try to emulate it, because there's shortcuts, right? Like if you see a lot of these traditional artists that use an iPad, there's so many shortcuts that they have taken and automated a bunch of their processes to the point like, well, why even use it? Yeah.
A couple of reasons, and to touch on the concept of, here's a brush, here's a sponge brush, here's an angled brush, soft, harsh, whatever. Here's all these different types of things to replicate traditional art. To me, that came, I was using Photoshop in the early days, I think it was even pre-2000. And I'm still not a pro at it.
That'll be like, I'm pretty sure that'll be like Photoshop 5 would be at the latest of 2000.
Yeah, well, I was definitely using it before then, because I was building computers. I'm a closet nerd, man. I love tech, always.
Oh, mate, be open, loud, and proud.
But look, I think at that stage, it's kind of like you need that for the companies like Photoshop and bloody Corel Draw, Quark, all those kind of old kind of designer programs. We can go back even further, and I've forgotten the name of it. And one of our good friends, dear friends, he's Ghost Agent is his name. He was using this designer program that was like, it's fucking ancient. It's like 80s or whatever. I've forgotten what it's called. He brought it over the other week. He had a poster of it that came with the floppy disk and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, floppy disk.
Yeah, like it was crazy.
I only go as far back as Corel.
He actually got it started back up on his old Amiga computer a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, I think that, the likes of Photoshop, Quark, all that kind of stuff, they brought these things in because it was something that people knew. Artists, that they want to introduce artists to a digital format. Yeah. And it's like, oh, cool, I can do it over here too. And, it's not the same. We know that, the tactility of painting, a wall or a canvas or something like that, feeling the pressure of the brush and the paint flow, all that. Completely different tactility. We understand that, but that's where it started. And I guess those things have just stayed in there. But now if you look, there are very, very, and this is what I love about the crypto art space. There's art actually using digital medium that you can only do digital.
Yeah, like I love how you have some of the programs that are in the MetaQuest where you're painting in a 3D space and you're able to then walk through it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just art, like post-creation. So it's now this 3D sculptural painting. And it's hard to explain to someone who actually hasn't seen it being done. But if you think of it as like a contemporary dance with a brush and you're almost like leaving a trail behind, it looks impressive. And it can't be done in any other space other than a digital space.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. That's Giant Swan, good friend of ours, Melbourne artist. He's one of the world's leading VR artists. And he creates, and this is what I always said to him, is a lot of people don't understand, they see this kind of 2D or 3D image, it depends how he renders it. But, a lot of the times he'll do a 2D image as an NFT, and he's got 3D versions that kind of go through the artwork. But he creates in a 3D space.
Yeah.
He is dancing around and wrapping, things around him. But, look, there's other things too, and this is one of the beauties about the NFT side of things that I absolutely love is code. Like there's actually, artists that are creating artworks utilizing binary code, but they're actually using digital digital
Right.
tools and mediums.
Wait, so they're
to
coding
create.
their artwork as opposed to creating the
So
artwork and letting the software code it for them.
I've created. I've actually got artwork that I utilize my photography and my post editing. I haven't released it yet, but it'll come when I've got time. But it is actually a clock that is the artwork changes in a certain way that you can look at the artwork and it's aesthetically, for me, it's aesthetically appeasing. Like I love it. And the artwork can change in a specific way based on every second of the day. And you can look at it, well, I can, because I'm one of only a few that have seen what we've built so far, and I can tell the time off the artwork. But it looks like an artwork. It doesn't look like a clock. It does not look like anything else. It looks like an artwork that's got, these wavy forms to it and photographic kind of images that I've post-edited, oversaturated. I've always been a fan of oversaturating and blowing out colours. But it's aesthetically pleasing to look at. Someone can walk past it and go, oh, like, hey, that's nice. It's calming. It's almost like a lava lamp in a way, mutated in with this photographic work. But also too, it's like, they're unaware that it's telling them the time, and it's dynamic, and that's the code is generated so it's infinitely non-repeatable. Like, so the waves in my artwork will never ever be the same ever again. So every second of that artwork is different, even though it's the same artwork.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard to explain completely.
Have you seen that? There's a digital server that uses the lava lamps as its security firewall.
No,
have you seen that?
I haven't, no.
So it has a bunch of lava lamps, probably to the magnitude of hundreds, right?
Yeah.
And cameras on these lava lamps. And what the cameras are doing is that it is picking up, receiving the various combinations of where the formation of the lava. And because it's entirely random, and over how many lamps that they have, it's constantly changing the security firewalls behind it.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's using the randomness
of this physical kind of generative.
Yeah, and it's constantly changing the code, and it's just that. So that way, there is no one sequence is ever going to be the same as anything that's ever been used before. It's entirely random and infinitely variant.
Yeah.
So it'll be very similar to...
It's that kind of stuff. There's artists out there in the crypto art world that are doing, there's one artist who I'm a big fan of him. He's an amazing artist, Han. He did an artwork called Light on Chain. So you would purchase these NFTs, but what you could do is you could go into these NFTs and change a few dials for a light that is actually located on this building that was somewhere in, I've completely forgotten, but it was like Croatia or it was somewhere over in Europe. Amazing building. And it had like 2,000 or somewhere around there, 2,000 prongs sticking off the top of this building with the LED light on the top. You could control, your NFT controlled one of those lights, and you could set the pulse time, the frequency, all that kind of stuff. From your NFT, and it would control this physical kind of art installation. It was fucking amazing, beautiful. Like, he's one of the forward-thinking ones who utilizes code to create the artwork.
Yeah, I like that. I like that interplay between the digital space and the actual reality space that we live in. I think that's the thing, right? Like, a lot of the NFTs, especially, has been a way of them almost like taking something that is 2D, tangible 2D, and replicating it in a digital space, and then just been calling it a day. There's been, how many artists have there been, like traditional 2D artists, as in visual artists, that will have a work and the NFTs would be of the work getting destroyed just to basically ensure that the NFT is the one of one and the physical does not exist anymore, which I think is fine, but it's almost like then you're not really utilizing that in its full capacity.
It's quite a basic option when you're looking at that DXP scenario, the digital and physical kind of counterpart, and that's a really hard one too. But Damien Hirst did that with currency. So Damien Hirst released, I think it was 5,000 or somewhere around there NFTs of his dot paintings. So each one was an individual dot painting, but it actually correlated to a physical dot painting that he had done. There was a point in time where you had to choose whether you wanted to keep the NFT, or if you kept the NFT, he would burn the physical, or you could claim the physical, which would burn the NFT. So burning an NFT is like sending it gets sent to a wallet that it's like the trash
still has
can.
to exist though, doesn't it?
It still exists. It existed, but no one can touch it. No one can do anything with it. It's basically locked in purgatory, forever. You have no access to it. No one else will ever have access to it. So it's called burning. But so the funny thing is, and that was a really good example because we were about to see at the time, how...
Yeah, what was the split?
So the split was about 50-50.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was about, these are just rough guesses off the top of my head. I think it was about 55% chose the physical and about 45% kept the NFT. So I kept the NFT. Jane and I had one and kept the NFT. But, it's because we're going, okay, this is Damien Hirst's first NFT drop. I would rather hold one of these because it's, the story of how that artwork joined the digital and the physical and the opportunities and options that people had for it was a new way.
Story's a big one. Story is a big one. Tell me about what's the different mindset now of collectors, because we touched on this and I want to explore that a little bit more because that's going to give us a good explanation as to what you guys are doing with 24/7. 24/7 or 247? What are we calling it?
Whatever you want to call it. It's the name. It's not about the name. It's not about us, the brand, or anything like that. We wanted something that was 247.art. It can be 24/7.art. It doesn't matter.
It's called 24/7.
Yeah, 24/7.
24/7 art. So talk to me about the different mindset in collectors, because this is crucial. The traditional collector mindset versus the next generation of collectors. And to what you were saying before, that this is the first generation of people that are going to be born into a digital era, strictly born into digital. So where do you see the differences?
Well, collectors are you traditional today, blue chip collectors. A lot of them are the ultra high net worth. If we look at that level there, they're getting older. They're slowing down. They're either selling off their collections or just slowing down a little bit in their collection. That's why I'd like it. There's reports released recently, 2024, 25, that, artworks over the 50,000 USD mark had dropped in sales by like 20%, 30%, thereabouts. Whereas artworks from the 5,000 USD mark up to the 5,000 USD mark kind of gone the other way. So it started to move up. And what this is, so you've got the blue chip collector or the blue chip artist, and you've got now the red chip artists. So this is where the red chip artists are the artists like, I think Avant Art wrote a story on this where it's, you've got people like Koons and Kors, even Kusama, that kind of merge or started coming over towards this red chip. They're called purple chip because, red and blue. But they're artists that are expressing their art forms and taking it out into other mediums. The red chip artist is the artist that can paint a canvas and sell at a fine art level, but they'll also sell a T-shirt. They'll sell stickers. They'll sell a vinyl toy. They'll collab with someone to do sneakers, and they spread their artworks, further. So that red chip artist is kind of this artist where the new age collector is coming in. So this is the Gen Zs, millennials that are a lot of them are becoming tech kind of wealthy and rich from online, or they're now kind of got the expendable incomes because they're not buying fucking homes. So they're kind of they're looking at the new kind of these Gen Zs, millennials, and the likes are not necessarily collectors; they're supporters more so, like in a patronage type way. They more so enjoy investing in artists. They like their style. They like who they are, what they kind of stand for. Whether it's if they're kind of all about environmentalism or anarchy or fucking whatever, they find their line of artists and they're happy to support them, and that's buying a hoodie or a T-shirt or a print, if they can afford it. And again, those collectors are the new ones that are going to be the ones that buy your $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 canvases in the future. When they do have the kind of expendable income. So it's a lot of the market's shifting towards these, more affordable art. Look, you can sell 10, 20, 30, 50 grand artworks. They still sell. But a lot of people are missing out, and they're finding out now, and this is what this red chip artist is about, is you're putting 99% of your, possible revenue stream, you're leaving it off the table, or you're keeping it on the table, whichever way it goes, because you're not opening up beyond what you could do, and this is kind of a creative process that Jane and I have always helped artists with, whether we can help manufacture and produce in-house, which is always great, helps us make a couple of bucks, but whether we can help them create something, we find avenues for artists that suit them and open up to ideas of going, hey, why don't you look at this? That concept of the Claire McAndrews, I think it was, in the Art Economist book, where an artist needs to sell anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 artworks to generate a market around their art. Now, I don't know many artists out there that can generate that many artworks efficiently without a big team. But then this is where it starts including those extended things like fine art prints or fucking merch, apparel, stickers. They all count. As little portions of it because it's about what do you think fucking Apple has their name up on every second fucking billboard.
Or even just, when I probably don't do it anymore, but, whenever you bought a product, you'll get the stickers with it.
Yeah.
And where you'll brandish that on some other random
you stick it on your laptop, you stick it on your phone or wherever, on your car.
Yeah.
But this is why, it's basically advertising.
It just goes to show that social media has given the artist a platform. I don't like using the term personal brand. I think it distills the person too much to just being a brand.
Yeah.
But for a lack of a better term, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
That is given the artist a platform to outshine a lot of brands and to give them as much pull, if not more so. You see, like Nike, the last decade or so, just through the roof with collaborations. Through the roof. It's the collaborations. I suppose that you could call an athlete endorsement, a collaboration, which that's exactly what it is, right? They're using the star power of this athlete, putting their name on a product, and then you just have this powerhouse of I guess it's just two really strongly viewed, strongly appreciated things in the market, one being a person and one being a brand, coming together and sharing values, reaching a market. And I think that's what artists have to look at and how they should be aspiring. Because I know, like, a lot of artists, and you'd attest to this, that they hide behind their work, right? A lot of them don't like to be front facing. You know, they like the fact that their work will speak for itself. And in some cases, absolutely. But I would say that the ones that are successful, their work it's almost irrelevant. It really is. It really just comes down to the name that's attached to it.
Yeah, it's the personal character.
It's the character.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree on that. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, but you are the CEO of your company.
Yeah.
You need to be at the front of it, all right? And every artist is a fucking small business. You're either a small business, medium business, or a fucking, you know, you're on the S&P 500. But the thing that artists forget is, like, yes, you know, the art should speak for itself, and it should. But, you know, it's kind of like, well, then it's like parking a supercar and leaving a supercar in the garage and not taking it out. It's like, it can be appreciated by a couple of people, but you're not putting it on the road and showing the fucking performance of that thing and getting it in front of people.
And the work could be dog shit as well, and you could still be an incredibly successful artist.
Plenty of artists out there that have got, you know, and that's, look, it's a perspective. You know, it's my perspective if I look at an artwork and go, that's dog shit, but someone else will pay $2 million for it. So
yeah, you are right. That is where we're at now. If you look at, and I like to see things holistically rather than just saying that, you know, things can't be viewed in silos. So culturally, you're saying that there's a shift towards these red chip type artists and artworks where they're leveraging their brand that they have created through even something like social media. And all the other aging type, traditional type artworks, will they eventually just get to the point where they are devalued? Because the value that they hold is only because so-and-so says so. And if there's a large enough community of people saying, disagree.
No artwork's worth anything. You know,
ultimately, right? It can be worth nothing.
It's literally, you know, but if someone's willing to pay.
Yeah. And if there's really no one, if it gets to the point where no one's willing to pay for it because they just don't see that as with the same value, then it's really just doesn't hold value anymore. So now you have this shift in the collector's mindset, which is attached to how the artists are now portraying themselves and how they're navigating the cultural sphere. So 24/7 is coming in and breaking the traditional gallery paradigm and creating its new thing. And what are you guys actually doing here?
So look, over the past 2 decades or so, even longer, since I've been in the art world, being as an artist, then collector, then gallerist, and, you know, print shop and owner. It's just, for me, it's 30 years or so at least involved in the art world. Beyond that, I was still creating art as a youngster, but, you know, when you're talking with, you know, anywhere from 5 to 10 artists a day, you get to know their problems. Like, we listen, and you kind of correlate all those problems into little, you know, folders over here, and you look through the priorities of things that you go, okay, like, what do artists need? Like, what do they really need? What have they complained about the most? You know, and then we start there, like, how do we fix that? How do we fix that? So, you know, look, we're taking all the best things that we've found that match all the problems that artists have had, and we're developing it.
Give some of the challenges that artists have.
Time and cost of an exhibition. So
Yeah.
for an artist to have their own solo exhibition, if they hired a place like our place,
Yeah.
or hired there are other smaller galleries, but if they hire that place there, you're not only doing everything from the installation, paying rent for the week or a high commission, usually at your 50% kind of commission, hoping that, maybe an email list that comes from the gallery will help. But predominantly you're going to do everything.
Yeah.
You're going to go in there, you're going to manage everything, and then you're fucking hoping you sell an artwork. We've always said, like, any artist, if you break even from doing a gallery exhibition, any format, you're in the top 10%, 5%, because most don't. Like, we've had shows, that are amazing artists, and sometimes, it can be the time of the month. It can be, it was only open for 4 days or a week. Didn't give time for people to come in and actually experience it, because experiencing it online, having a look at a photo online, you don't get that light shining across it. You don't get that moment, that smell of, banh mi from next door, or Korean barbecue. But it's tying in all these kind of things. So the time is the one that we're focusing on. We're like, well, we want to do a longer period exhibition, more artists. Group exhibitions have always been our best. They're most excited, the most fun, and it's a big network effect. Every artist is basically helping each other talk about their exhibition. I could sit there and post, hey, I'm in this exhibition at 24/7, whatever.
Shit around, yeah.
Someone sees that, and look, someone might come in to look at my work, and they might buy another artist's work. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
That artist won. Cool, fucking well done. But it happens vice versa too. Someone might have said, go in and look at my work, and they bought my work. But you've got to be there. You've got to be present. You need your artwork to be there to be sold. Not everyone finds you on Instagram.
Man, that's why I love popping into Utrecht Gallery.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Utrecht's like, and their locals exhibition. Their locals exhibition is very much what we've been working towards, doing a very similar style to that. Beautifully curated, amazing. I love the guys up there. So that's one thing that we're working on. Then the retail and the merch side of things. So we're building in a retail space. So every artist that joins the exhibition, up to 100 artists, they'll all have the feature gallery artwork hang. They can hang 1 or up to 4 artworks in their space. But we're building in the retail space because, as you know, we've got the fine art print production, apparel production, vinyl, stickers, all that kind of stuff. We've been doing that for a long time, and we do it at a high quality, always kept it at premium levels. So every artist will get their own merch. We'll help.
I'm going to guess that not a lot of them would have done.
No, look, it's kind of 50-50. They try it. A lot of the times, the problem is an artist is, if you go and you want to produce 50 T-shirts, you might have an exhibition, you might be paying $1,000.
Or don't even have the distribution channel as well.
Yeah.
You've got to find that artist to then find their
That's
merch.
Right. But that's one of the biggest problems we've seen. And we were one of the first people doing print on demand in Australia properly for artists in the early days, because we've seen that problem of, we've had artists that come to us and like, hey, I want an edition of 25 A2 prints, on a museum grade paper, whatever. And that can be $1,000 worth of prints. But it's like, it's $1,000, but we can print you 1 or 2 or 3 to start with. Just go out and see if you can do your sales first. So we usually recommend buy 1, sign it, do your photo shoots with it, and then we'll help manage the prints that come after it, type thing. The print on demand, but properly. So you can still sign them. We still do it today. artists will come in, they might sell one print this week or 2 prints or 10 prints. We'll print them straight away. They just come in, sign them all, and we'll post them all off for them.
Yeah, so you basically, you're taking so much legwork out of what they need to do in order to sustain a career.
Yeah.
Like you're helping them. Like a lot of the artists that I've spoken with, the ones that have attained a level of success that they are happy with, that they have been able to define themselves, are the ones that have really identified the business side of it and how to tackle that as much as the creation. And that is not an easy thing to have to get your head around, because it's not why you got into it.
Yeah.
But it's all the things that you just have to do in order to, and to your point, you have to recognize yourself as a business.
Yeah.
That's just the only way you can survive. There's different ways of approaching it and different ways that you can go about it. But what I like about what you guys are doing is that you're offering a pretty broad spectrum of options and also doing it in a way that is really accessible as well. And I like how it's when I say accessible, like it gives artists the opportunity to get their leg up without needing to necessarily have a strong following to get into a gallery.
Yeah, that's right. And that's this is the network effect. And this is why the big group exhibition, because it's very important for especially emerging, even mid-career artists, because it's that, again, if I shout out or whatever artist shouts out, like, hey, go down and check out my work, someone walks in there, they're about to experience 99 other fucking artists and go like, oh, wow. And they might spot 1 or 2 that really resonate with them. Sweet. Hopefully those, now another 2 artists from that collection have just gained a super fan. They might not be able to afford their $500 artwork, their $5,000 artwork, but they might come down and go, oh, like, I can get a T-shirt, or I don't want a T-shirt, or I can buy a fine art print. Signed, cool. So, and again, adding to that retail, touching back on that side, is we're doing, because it's a paid exhibition, consider it a 3-month art fair is the way we're treating it.
Yeah, that's a good way.
That an artist does not have to sit all day, because we know most artists are, introverts, not all, but, I'm 50-50 myself, like I'm on and off. And being in front of, 100, 1,000 people every day for 3 days in a row at an art fair is just a nightmare, for some artists. And they just don't know how to sell their work. And they don't need to. Like that, this is the point of galleries. With Jane's like one of the best curators I know. She learns about every single artist, learns their techniques, learns where they come from, how they got where they did. That's their job. Like, your job's to create artwork. If you do want to get to that next level and you want to express, you're good at expressing what your art's about, who you are, all that, amazing. Perfect. But not every artist's like that. So, but yeah, touching back onto that retail side, is we've put together the STP pack, which is sticker, T-shirt, print. And we box that up into a custom packaged box.
Yeah, that was impressive, man. I got to say, I really like how that all came up.
Cool
together.
I love them. Like a lot of the stuff, like on the creative side, obviously in the gallery, whereas Jane's the operations and management and curation. But the artist gets their own packaging. We produce it all in-house, and we can do it all print on demand, signed print, everything comes in there. But it's a little collector pack that someone can either gift, go, hey, I think my son will love this, or I'll give this to whoever. But every time the artist sells one of those, 1% is taken off their gallery commission. So effectively, and the artist gets $50 every time a pack sells too. So you're making money, and you're getting a reduced commission fee. So effectively, if day one of the exhibition, if you sold 25 of those STP packs, your effective commission rate is 0% for the next 3 months. Like, and you could sell 100 artworks through us. That's it.
Yeah, that's great.
Because it's a bit of a, it's got to help us too. Like we've learned over 10 years of running galleries, like it's fucking hard. Like, you know, you've either got to be an ultra high net worth patron to run a gallery, or, you know, have government grants. We're neither of those. So we had to kind of find, you know, look, okay, if we charge a nominal fee that is fair and of value, like we can offer this value there to the artist, and we've got to, you know, most artists see that value straight away anyway. But we've got to have a little bit of kind of push and pull. We need to be able to win, because when we do the printing, we're getting paid for that. So we're like, cool, we get to do the printing and we get paid for that. So just changing up the models a little bit.
I don't think that's a bad approach. I don't think that there should be any qualms with you guys being profitable in this process as well, because it to me, it seems as though that it's a collaborative effect here, right? And to what you were saying before about how when you're having these group shows, there is that level of support that you're able to get from other artists. And I think that, you know, when you guys, in order to be able to facilitate something like that, there needs to be something to allow you to continue doing that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I don't think there's any issue with that part of the model. I think that it's just one of those things that, like, it'll be interesting to see how the public take to it, how the creative community at large take to it, because it is a different way of approaching it. Not to say it's unfamiliar, because there already are galleries, like we said with Outre, how they do these massive group shows. And I like checking out works of various artists. I like, firstly, going in there because I know some of the artists that are there. Yep. And the discovery as well. I think it's awesome.
That's great.
And that's how you like, and that's how the community grows. So if you guys are at any one time having showcasing 100 different artists, and it's going to be different degrees of the caliber, but obviously that they have to be having some kind of minimal level of not experience, but of quality to be able to, for their sake as well.
Yeah,
right?
well, of course, we need to curate it in a certain extent, but we don't want to over curate it. What we're looking for is motivated artists that want to grow, because you know, you might be an artist painting stick figures today, and you know, you might find a lot of people looking at the artwork going, oh yeah, okay, cool, my kid could have painted that, or whatever you know choose, but if they're motivated, as you know, talked before, like if they're like, hey, I'm going to get out there, I'm pushing, I'm, you know, consistent, everything like that, they're the artists that grow. You know, they're the ones that end up at the top.
Especially if they're willing to take a step into something that is quite new and novel. Yeah, as well. Like there's, and to what you were saying about like the old traditional gallery, their old methods of doing it, it is very, it's tightly gate kept. Right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So in order for these emerging artists to even be in a position where they can, they either need to be jumping in as an artist where they have money behind them already and have the luxury of exploring art as a career because they're comfortable and they're able and they have that flexibility to take the risks. But if you don't, there has to be a good period of like 5-10 years of really grinding it to go through that suffering before you've established yourself.
Definitely. Yeah, it does help, the suffering, and a lot of artists, which is a shame, you know, over the years, and even myself included, think that, hey, I'm, you know, the starving artist, you know, type thing, scenario where it's like this motivation kind of push.
Yeah, paying your dues.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm in my darkest time, you know, you're painting different, you're drawing emotions, but a lot of the problem is a lot of artists get stuck thinking that they need to be, it's like self-sabotage almost, like, hey, I'm starting to do really well. You might have a couple of $1,000 saved up in the bank account. You can pay your bills. You're all good. But they've got this thing that is driving them like, it's not an imposter syndrome. Like, these are artists that are motivated and like confident about what they do, but they feel like they've got to go back to like a bit like, I'm doing too good. I need to kind of go back to get my art back up.
That's where the juice was. Yeah, and they have to try to find it again. And then when you come out of that.
But the problem is, it's always in them. It's in them. It's the artist needs to find a way to find that intrinsic part that is hiding in them somewhere that produces that artwork, because you are you. You're the human that produced it. Even in the dark time, you've had that experience. You can find that artwork anywhere in your mind, or your soul, your spirit, whatever, wherever you're getting it from. So an artist does not need to go into those kind of darker times. Like I always like look at it and just go, no, what are you doing? Like, but again, a part of our role, kind of Jane as gallerist and myself kind of thing is just advising artists, like helping artists, support. I don't really like to use the term advising, but just support. I quite often listen to artists, and being a creative myself, understanding process. And one of my personal key features is like, I am really good at looking at someone's art, looking at someone's practice or even just a life and go, well, if they've got a problem, if they've come to me about it, I'm good at looking at it and finding out a solution that can help them move forward. It's just,
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things when you're an artist, because there's no real pathway. There's no defined pathway, rather, saying that if you do this, then it's going to take you to this spot here. And then when you're in this spot, you have an option A or an option B, and then whichever one you choose is going to open up these next two doors. It's always a bunch of doors at any one time. And then it could be that choice paralysis that you have. There's so many things at play. There's like, you're talking about the fear of failure and you don't want to take the next step because what if it's the wrong step?
Yeah.
But if you don't take a step,
take the fucking step.
Take a step.
Take a step.
Take a step, whatever it may be. But because there's no one way of doing it, it's hard to know whether or not what you're doing is the way that you should be doing it. But whichever way that you take is the way that you should take.
Yeah. And focus and give it your fucking best. Like, if you're choosing that direction, then fucking put in for it. Don't second guess yourself. It's that second guessing, that imposter syndrome, that fucking self-sabotage, all those things. It's like, if you've made a decision and you're going to do it, just go, fuck everything else. Boom, focus on it. Focus and go really hard on it. You know what? If you burn half a year, if you burn a year of your time and it turned out to be a piece of shit or it didn't work, lesson.
But it's also like, you look at the journey that you guys have had, you and Jane, and with Oshi, why did you feel as though that it had to be such a complete overhaul? Because Oshi, to me, it felt as something that was moving with the times as well. Why couldn't this be an evolution of Oshi, where like it came at a time where the NFTs, the digital space was just blowing up, like over COVID, it was just, people felt as though there was like, it felt as though that there was a big shift in the way that we appreciated digital art. And honestly, like as a spectator, it felt almost forced as well. There was a lot of success from a very small group of artists, and I think that a lot of people jumped into it, but not realizing what was actually what was forming.
Yeah.
Oshi came at a time where there was that movement, but then there was a bit of a cultural rebound from that. And from there, you guys have evolved the practice, recognized where the sweet spot is, Why couldn't that have been the next evolution of Oshi?
It could.
Yeah.
And well, look, 24/7 is the next, one thing that personally, it's kind of, it's a bit hypocritical to say actually, but I'm not bothered about the name
Yep.
of, look, we've had Lane's End, we had VS Gallery or Versus Gallery with Ben Frost and Nixie. Shout out to Nixie. We have MilkBar, Oshi, now 24/7. The name to me hasn't, I've liked the names. I've pretty much named every single one of those, except Lane's End. I think George Rose or Ed Bechevaise may have come up with that one. But the name's never been super important to me. I've wanted it to be about the culture or the people or the feeling, the emotion, the experience, more so than a brand.
Gotcha.
I want to be like, look, if it grows into whatever it does, but it's about the artist to me, first and foremost. It's about the artist, it's about the collector and the people that are in that community. So it's no different. Like Oshi is still, Oshi has MilkBar in it, and MilkBar has VS Gallery in it, and VS Gallery has Lanes End. It's still Jane and I directing it. Okay, we've changed names. It's like changing cars, and I love changing up the names, and I love doing a little bit of graphic design and playing around with stuff. But what we are doing is, our experience from, if we kept doing the digital, it's very hard in the digital side to be more than just an experience, because you've got to look at sales in a gallery. If we're bleeding $50,000 a month, keeping the doors open so someone can walk in and look at some beautiful pictures, artworks on big screens. But the sales revenues and avenues are happening online. And in the NFT crypto art space, it just happens there. And it's a very different market. It's very quick. It's very fast. We're just giving people the opportunity to come in and experience digital art.
It is very different. I couldn't imagine like you walk into Oshi Gallery as a spectator wanting to see art. Even if you were inclined to buy art, it would be very strange to walk in, see something that you like, purchase it, but not having anything change.
Yeah.
Right? There's no exchanging of anything.
There's no waiting for it to be delivered.
Yeah,
there's no hanging it on the wall.
It's
you're
not waiting for something to be delivered.
Exactly. Like rocked up an hour late and you're pissed off, but it's all part of the emotion of that experience. But for us, predominantly, Oshi was about educating the general public. Like we can be, we're inside what's known as the crypto Twitter bubble. Which is people that are already in the space. Love them. We've made some amazing friends there that we've met overseas and around the world. It's like, beautiful. Love it. It's a completely different community. But we've never been here for that because they all know about it. They understand the technology. We don't need to explain anything to them. They look at it as art. And yes, the collectors on that side are different. They're bred different. They're very much a lot of them are about flipping.
Although, they're loose as well, aren't they?
Crazy. But the beauty is breeding a new age collector, which is they're starting to appreciate art. And it's not just NFTs. They've come from the digital space, but now they're starting to collect physical artworks as well. And this is expanding their kind of breadth of collection, and they're appreciating it and wanting to hold it now. That transfer of emotion has kind of got to them, and they're holding on to it. That artwork. So we will still keep that in there, but again, we're taking a lot of the really cool shit from the blockchain space. As spoke earlier, the smart contracts. Things like that we will be embedding into the background for traditional artists as well, to start understanding that these efficiencies are insane. Like I'm talking about, if you sold your artwork at a gallery, and I know there's plenty of artists out there that have sold their artwork through a gallery. They may have waited 1 month, 3 months, 4 months longer for payment, or they might not have seen payment. I know there was a massive one that happened last year or something where there was hundreds of thousands of dollars from a gallery or something unpaid to the artist. So we're developing actual something that will fucking sort that out for every gallery, not just us. We don't want to hold it on. It's something that all artists need.
So, so these smart contracts that you guys have, they help facilitate the sales and expedite payment. And when you say it's a smart contract, what makes it smart? Is it something that is easily transferable, as in malleable, as in like, what am I trying to say? Customizable. That's actually the word I was looking for. Is it something that is going to be customizable? Is that what makes it a smart contract?
A lot of things make it a smart contract, but first of all, every NFT is basically a smart contract.
Yeah. Okay.
The underpinning technology that is putting it on the blockchain it's just marking its point in time here.
Right. Okay. So it's not the contract as understood in the physical words signed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It can be that as well.
So it can have that way. That
smart
interface.
Contracts are quite dynamic. Like there's so many different things you can do. So in our case, our plan with the smart contracts is, a very simple user interface. Like we're not talking about you have to go and code fucking 0, 1s and binary, do whatever you have to do. A very simple kind of user interface where you'll be choosing your product, your artwork, say this artwork here that's a canvas, or it might be a limited edition print or a t-shirt or whatever it is. And if anyone else if you did a collaboration with an artist, and you're selling that, if you and I created an artwork, we collaborated and we're selling it at XYZ gallery. We can say to XYZ gallery, well, we utilize this payments platform.
Right, okay.
You need to accept it through this, because what will happen is all the gallery needs to do is go, okay, set up an account, profile XYZ gallery, and then we will send our contract to them, which will be one contract, but it will literally say, okay, the gallery takes 50% commission. So we're going to take 25% each. So the contract's going to be, okay, profile XYZ gallery, yep, check, I'm following them. Cool, check, 50%. And, Wayne, 25%, GT, 25%. If there's IP rights or anything like that, commercial rights, extended rights, or it's
it covers everything.
Zero, you can check that and you can input actual into the contract. It will have the commercial rights, consumer rights, whatever you want to put in there, copyright laws, and that'll be locked in there, done. They say, yep, cool, they accept it. They'll take the artwork in their gallery. And this is all a matter of minutes.
So the artwork is going to be intrinsically attached to this smart contract?
No.
No?
All it will be is that the artwork will be sold through that payments system.
Yep.
So it's just like any Shopify payment system, Square or Stripe or whatever. And you can pay in. You don't need crypto. Like we're not personally a big fan of cryptocurrencies. We love the blockchain, but literally, you'll be able to pay it in AUD on your credit card, however. But the smart contract will automatically take that money. Let's say it's $1,000 for sake of ease of numbers, and it will automatically go 50%, boom, XYZ gallery, 25% Wayne, 25% GT instantly. Within seconds.
Seconds, yeah.
And you'll have your wallet you'll have 250 AUD in it. I'll have 250 AUD in it, and the gallery will have their $500.
So this contract will also be the verification of the authenticity of the artwork as well.
It's yeah. It can be looked at as a COA, so
Right.
a certificate of authenticity, yes.
So then if it was to be on-sold, it will then need to be done through the same channels in order to maintain the integrity of that certificate?
The certificate is, so you can take one of these artworks here, we could sell that. We can give it still a printed certificate pointing to the smart contract. So you can have a physical one. At the moment, one of the hard things that still a lot of people, and I've been thinking about this for about 5 or 6 years, I've got a couple of concepts, but I need some big brain kind of developers for this, /AI. But there's this really hard kind of grey area in between having the two, digital and physical, like interconnected, without splitting them, without passing that on, the digital kind of, whether it's a COA or it's a verbatim copy, without passing that on, without this.
That's kind of why I thought that it had to be permanently attached to it.
No.
I wouldn't see that as a problem, though.
It can do. It's, the simple, like there's cryptographic NFC chips, so not near field communication chips. So we already use those.
I don't even think it needs to be like literally attached in I don't think it needs to be attached in such a literal way. I think it's just one of those where like a certificate is separate. It's separate to it.
It's in your drawer over here. The paintings on your wall.
Where when you have something that's going to be digital, it'll never get lost. It can always be retrieved, and it can always be authenticated as well. Like it's there.
It doesn't matter whose wallet it is.
And it can't be forged.
It's kind of like, hey, if you own the painting, if you've got the painting, just because you've got the COA over here, that's just the contract to that painting. So it's the artist, it's the sale profit. This is one of the key things that got us into the blockchain in 2017 was understanding and learning about NFTs. And we looked at it, first thing we looked at it was like provenance. Like, fuck, this is amazing. Like this, and you can in a way with smart contracts, you can add provenance to it. So if your artwork is displayed in a gallery somewhere, or in a museum, wherever, institution, you can actually add that to the smart contract and it will attach itself to the smart contract.
And there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the actual core smart contract that is written is immutable, so that you can't change it. You don't want it to be changed. That's this is the OG information, basically.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things when you say the blockchain in the art world is very much underutilized, especially when you need to have different levels of verification as well, and it allows for that, and it's not something that has been integrated well. It has been with authenticating, with the minting of digital artwork, and then that is directly attached. Like it can't be separated at all. It's one-on-one, right? Like
one of the things, the reason why the traditional art world has not taken on so much is because of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And this is one of our core things is with 24/7. Every artist, if a collector comes in and purchases their artwork, and if that collector chooses, because we've got to give the collector a choice, but if they want to remain anonymous, that's fine. If not, we're going to connect that artist with their collector. So many galleries do not give you the email list of the collectors that purchase your fucking artwork. Like, for fuck's sake, like this really pisses me off. Like, it's something that's like they're buying the artwork. Like, yes, okay, the gallery may, or the curator, gallerist may have brought them over to collect the artwork. A lot of the times, people already know the artist and they're going to buy it. It just happens to be at your gallery, but regardless, this person is purchasing your fucking artwork. Why does the artist not have all that information? We don't need your fucking credit card details and your home address and all that shit, but at least give the artist a email, or an Instagram or something. They can contact them and say, hey, if they wish, thanks for buying my art. Like, appreciate it.
Yeah, that connections, that's a really integral one as well. I think like with
Huge.
some of the really prominent artists that I've spoken with, them maintaining a relationship or some sort of connection with their collectors and just their fan base. That's
Collectors
important.
love it. Look, let's be,
course.
everyone's got an ego to a certain point. Most collectors appreciate it when an artist, it makes them feel good. They already feel good because they've purchased an artwork, and depending if they're a patron or investor, or depending where they're at. Usually, an investor, art investor, will feel good when they've sold it and made money. But for the patrons out there, the supporters, when an artist, when a collector, you're contacted by an artist, you're kind of like, cool, like, no worries, thanks.
And this comes back to what you were saying about the red chip artist and the red chip art, where it is, the artwork is so intrinsically connected to the artist, where they're buying a piece of the artist, right? And it's representative of everything that the collector or the supporter sees in the artist, and that's why they want that piece of that memorabilia almost. And to be able to maintain some kind of like relationship, it's it'll only just help the artists, their presence grow, and gives them, it will just be able to help them establish who they are.
Yeah, and it's look at any of us, the clothes that we wear, it's our expression, it's our outlet of kind of expressing who we are. Whether you wear a Armani suit or whether you wear track pants and, Ugg boots, which is me 90% of the time. But and this is where they're going, this new age collector. It's like, they enjoy that unique, understanding that an artist isn't, like Nike. You're not, okay, that's a dope T-shirt, I love it, but there's a fucking million of them printed out there. It's not really super unique. You're just kind of, it's a status kind of thing or whatever, but you're in a community. You're still expressing yourself to that community, like, I'm in this community. If you're wearing Air Force Ones, or, I love my Adidas triple white shell toes, Run DMC days.
The shell toes.
But that's all I wear, but that's kind of, now it's happening with artists, it's like that T-shirt or that hoodie or whatever, that bit of apparel that they can wear to express themselves publicly, with these unique, unique artwork on the front of it. One that, most artists are not going to be producing a million fucking T-shirts, unless your cause at Uniqlo or
I was just actually going to say
Uniqlo. Well, that's about it, but that's what I mean. They're at the red chip level. They're at that, the purple chip cause.
Man, like how many Andy Warhol and Basquiat.
But that's what makes their artwork valuable. It's like
people wearing it, people just perpetuating that image
out on the street. Like, you're getting these billboards, and that artist. Like, that's where it's like, all right, cool. Now, if you're in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, LA, New York, whatever, if you've got 100 people wearing your fucking T-shirt around the city at any one point in time, like, how many people, the network effect of anyone seeing that knows your artwork, it's just a fucking reminder. It's like, oh, that's a so-and-so fucking T-shirt. You might not know the person, but
at this point, like, Keith Haring could just be some guy that prints T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, that's a really interesting insight. And I think that's just the way, that's the direction things are going. They're even speaking with Tom Gerard.
Yep.
He has been putting a lot of his energy towards seeing how he can diversify his art. And I think that is the right approach. I think that a lot of artists need to see their art not as separate from them. Actually, it's they are the art.
Yeah, yeah.
And the application is just one avenue, and they've got to look at different ways how they can diversify.
Toying with, if you want to come down to the taking the concept of reproduction printing, so fine art, apparel, or anything like that, but take that away. But I always love to talk to artists about expanding their medium.
Dude, you guys are due to make this push. I'm dying to see how this unfolds. I think it'll be...
It's exciting.
It's exciting, man. I think it's really exciting, and I like how the space is going to turn out. I thought the space was pretty impressive, very impressive in its Oshi iteration. I think that this is going to really pop.
This will be like next level.
Yeah.
We'll make sure, my background's in, bespoke high-end shop fit out. So I'll make sure that the joint looks bang on. This is, where the exciting part for us.
So website to come.
Yep.
24/7 is now live on Instagram.
Live on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep. Mate, GT, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing with us what's happening in your neck of the woods. Again, man, excited to see what comes of this.
Absolute pleasure.